Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Shola Sheyeli. Dr. Tomini Owolabi has been recognized by Who's Who Legal as one of the top project finance mergers and acquisition lawyers in the world. He has a long-standing track record of involvement in some of the largest and most complex projects in the dynamic sectors of the Nigerian economy, spanning energy, telecoms, banking and finance, ICT, infrastructure development, and financial regulation. Dr. Owolabi is also a 2011 recipient of the Eisenhower Fellowship for International Leadership and the managing partner of Olaniwun Ajayi LP. I began the interview with his views on the Olaniwun Ajayi legacy and what the next few decades holds for legal practice in Nigeria.
The firm was started just about 2 years after Nigeria's independence. It was started by Sir Olaniwun Ajayi, who didn't start school until the age of 13, and whenever he told us the story of his early days, he started school without shoes. And to think that a man who started school that late in abject poverty, led to the establishment of one of the biggest firms in Africa, just shows you the power of possibilities. And Olaniwun Ajayi, that's what we stand for. And over the years, the firm has participated in transactions and landmark cases that has seen the evolution of Nigeria as a country. Whether you're talking about oil and gas, you're talking about infrastructure development, or you're talking about even the governance of the nation, the firm has had its footprints or fingerprints across those kind of transactions. And that is why we believe that as a firm, as we're celebrating 60, we're not just celebrating ourselves as a firm, we're celebrating the possibility of institutions in Africa. Only very few institutions in Nigeria can say they're 60 years.
And they're still alive.
And they're still alive, and they're leading their sector.
Yeah.
And what we're saying by celebrating our 60th is that there are stories in Africa that we need to tell the world. There is the possibility of institutions being established in Africa that would impact the world. And the story we're telling with our celebration is that the future of Africa, the future of Nigeria is the quality of institutions that we build. And that's what drives every case that we do, every transaction that we work on. And that's the endorsement that our clients have been giving us.
I want to talk about something else that Olaniwun Ajayi did recently. I like some of the background information that you've given us, but you recently opened a law firm in London, yes. You opened a London office with 3 new partners. And I know that many stakeholders consider that as a significant milestone. In fact, I heard lawyers celebrate it. Even lawyers were not part of the firm. And, a lot of lawyers are excited about it. A lot of lawyers feel that that's the way to go. But it seemingly appears like a lot of people are not getting it. What is that thing that lawyers are not doing or should be doing more of, to have that kind of international collaboration, partnerships? Is that even the next phase that we should be looking at in upping the ante of legal practice in Nigeria?
Okay, so I'll take the last part of your question before the first. First and foremost, Nigeria has the largest collection of lawyers in Africa. The Nigerian bar is the largest black bar in the world. And therefore, we believe that the Nigerian legal sector should be a great contributor to our GDP. But though we have the largest number of lawyers on the continent, the Nigerian legal sector is not necessarily making as much money as, say, for instance, the South African legal market.
Why is that?
And we'll come to that. And that's one thing which we think we need to pay attention to. Yes, English law will always be a necessary law for commerce, but can Africans also, with the level of talents that we have out of this continent, also begin to play a major part in that? And that's why we believe that we can't just sit here. It's a global world, and globalization should not just be the West looking to Africa. It should also be Africa going to the world. And it's been a major milestone for it's been a very expensive move. It's been a very bold move. But it's been a very rewarding move because a number of our clients have said, I want a firm that is truly African to be able to solve my African problem, even though it's an international work. And so we've had clients who are reaching out to us and saying, yes, we want an African who is able to deliver English law service. And that's where we found ourselves. And the response has been great. It's just our first year, and we're looking up to doing greater things. Now, for other people, we don't think, yes, we are the first, but we expect other people to follow. Because as I said, people complain about the pressure on the Naira now. And one of the explanations for the pressure on Naira is the importation of goods. But we should also realize that importation of services is putting pressure on Naira. And so the more we get Nigerians to do a lot more legal work for businesses in Africa, the less we put pressure on Naira.
I wanted to talk about what you think that the next few decades hold for legal practice in Nigeria. And if you look back at 60 years of how legal practice has fared in Nigeria, would you say that we've done fairly well?
The legal profession in Nigeria, though a traditional, historically traditional, very conservative profession, what we have in the last few decades evolved. And so law firms have become larger. Several years ago, there were sole practitioner firms, one person hiring a few people. Now we're having firms with 100 lawyers in Nigeria. We're having firms doing a lot of international work. And so we see that the legal profession in Nigeria has evolved as a business. For a long time, lawyers were just legal practitioners, but lawyers have now seen the practice of law as a business. And as a result of that, they are adopting tools, they are adopting structures, they're expanding their reach to make it better. But there's still quite a lot of work for us to do. And so in terms of the years ahead, I'm looking at the legal profession adopting more technology in the delivering of its service and also in the management of the firms. As I said, we are becoming larger firms, but in becoming larger firms, that throws up a lot of other issues. We need to manage ourselves better, and technology will be useful in that. The other thing which I believe we need to and would push the next few decades is how we're trained. The traditional way of training, which we see in our law schools, is too book-centric. Law is really a profession. It's a profession that is experiential. And so we need to look at the way we're trained, open that up more, infuse more practicality into the way we're trained. Currently, they send law school students for, extern as well, but that's not what we're looking at. In the UK, for instance, now as a solicitor, for you to qualify, you do 2 years, contract with a law firm. We need to look at that because that is the way to train lawyers. It's not just sitting down in law school, reading books and cramming and pouring it down.
And go for court attachments and chamber attachments.
Which is for how many weeks? It's just for a short period. And what do they do then? It's not really, and so we need to look again at how we're trained.
Let me try and unpack a few of the things you said. I know you've been big on technology, and that brings me to the fact that your firm recently, introduced a technology hub or something like that?
We call it iLab, Innovation Lab.
Innovation Lab.
Currently as a firm, the fastest growing sector in the firm is actually our technology practice. It's actually in terms of percentage growth, it's actually our fintech and technology practice, because really every day young people are bringing new things, and everybody has seen that the biggest way, the future of the country or the world really is technology. And so we found out that on an everyday basis, somebody's walking through the door with an idea that is requiring some legal support. And so we looked at that and we said, okay, beyond that, we also realized that a lot of our clients are looking for ways to make our service to them easier. A lot of our clients are saying, yes, someone in the oil and gas sector is saying, yeah, we have 1,001 laws to comply with. How do we introduce technology to that? And we just said, why don't we also be a catalyst for innovation that leads to technology that makes commerce easier? And so without just being a provider of legal service to people who have ideas, we decided we want to be a catalyst for people who are bringing up ideas to make commerce easier. And so we decided to start up this innovation lab. And what's it about? It's just a space for young people, old people, mid-aged people, anybody that has an idea to come forward. Spend time there, we create a right environment, and we give you support, legal and possibly opportunity to approach capital for you to develop your ideas. And hopefully when the idea is mature, we can make some money, and the whole world benefits. And so that's the whole idea. And for us as a firm, that is characteristics of who we are. The firm has survived, this firm has grown because of its focus on creativity.
But talking about technology in the larger legal field, I know that COVID forced technology on us whether we wanted to move or not. But would you say that we've created the right balance, in terms of usage of technology in legal practice, vis-a-vis the criticisms that came up of fair hearing, you can't see the demeanor of the witnesses and all of those arguments? Would you say that we've struck the right balance, so to say?
So, as it is with most technology, it's an evolution. It's not an end in itself. As you mentioned, the pandemic opened our eyes to possibilities. People realized that virtual meetings, virtual proceedings, online filings, and things of that nature needed to happen. And a number of rule books have changed to adopt that. But there is no doubt that it's a process, and being a process, you have late adopters, people who would not feel comfortable with what you've said, and being a process also, things will keep evolving to deal with the current challenges. And so, for me, it's not to say that we're not there yet. We've started in the right way. And one of the things that we've done as a firm, fortunately, we worked with a number of states, working with the United Nations. The United Nations hired us to work with a number of state governments to bring technology to bear in their court system. And so we've worked with local states and a few states in the north where we've collaborated with the United Nations to bring technology to run their system. And there is no doubt that that is the way to go. Now, are those systems perfect today? No, as most things technology. But you start, you see where the gaps are, and you begin to build on that. But the future really is investing in technology and letting technology do things that we were traditionally doing ourselves.
I want us to run up with a kind of agenda setting. The acting CGN has just been confirmed CGN. The NBA has a new executive in place. So let's do a kind of agenda setting, some of these issues that we've talked about and how they can help move things forward.
So for the judiciary, it's simple. We need a faster court judiciary process. We need a much reliant judiciary process. Earlier on I was talking about the fact that, the UK is marketing legal services. And why are they marketing that? They're marketing that because they know that if you go to an English court, you get through quickly and you get the right type of decision. And so if we want the legal service to contribute to our GDP, we need to pay attention to the court system. And what are the two key issues? First of all, is the speed of how matters are dispensed with.
And everybody complains about that.
And everybody complains about that. So, and it's easy to fix, I believe. It's easy. And that's where technology also comes through. There's a lot of pre-work that goes on before the matters are heard. We can use technology to shorten the time. And even the hearing itself, we can use technology to shorten that time. The second issue is the reliability of the judicial process. Will I get justice? That is also something the CGA should focus on. When it comes to the lawyers now talking about the new president of a bar, a key issue for me is also beginning to let lawyers understand that we are lawyers, we're professionals, but it's also a business. And that I emphasize, and because if we don't see it as a business, we won't grow. The financial sector in Nigeria is growing well, so many other sectors are growing. the legal sector can grow faster than it is today. And the only drawback is because we are a human rights lawyer, we deliver the oppressed from, but it is still a business. So people need to begin to look at it from a commercial perspective, how we organize, how we can structure ourselves, how we can improve ourselves, and how we can build a base that would accommodate other people to benefit from. So that will be my message to the President of the Bar.